about this thing here, this Caribbean festival? I just got here a little bit on.
Oh, we're doing
Had a loop on that. What's going on with that?
The Caribbean Festival. All the different islands, they come together, they form an organization, and they display their costumes, their food, their arts, and their crafts.
Okay.
Today is our day, the Caribbean Carnival.
Having fun?
Well, I'm from Trinidad, and Trinidad is the mother of all carnivals, but
Really?
we shared with other islands.
They're the baby mama.
No, they're not.
We're the Panama #1 in carnivals. Check it up. Research.
Listen, what we're doing a thing on worldview. So you know what a worldview is? And take a guess. What do you think worldview is?
The view of the world.
Very good, good. Yeah, what a worldview is, is the way you perceive the world. Okay, it's how you see things, kind of the lenses by which you view the universe and the world you live in. Okay, and what you depend on your worldview is going to really determine how you act and how you perceive and how you integrate into the world, right? And it can affect how your life is here on Earth, but also I would submit to you that it's going to affect your eternity. Okay, and we're coming from a Christian worldview. I don't know what your worldview is there, but we're just going to ask you a few questions and see how you answer on these questions, and we're trying to get a feel for what people really believe. Okay. Okay. What is your name?
Tennille.
Tennille and Jamar. Jamar. Okay. Tennille and Jamar. Let me ask you this question real quick. Concerning the origins of life, okay, which of the following best describes your view? Would it be evolution theory? Theistic evolution, that would be the idea that the Creator uses a mechanism of evolution, okay, or special creation by God, or some other.
Special creation by God.
Okay, special creation by God. How about you?
Other.
Other. What would you rather be?
I don't know. I
Don't
have
know?
to see to believe.
Have to see to believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have to see everything to believe?
Absolutely.
Can you see gravity?
No.
You believe in gravity?
Somewhat. No, I'm kidding. I mean,
I'm working on it.
If you
She's
believe in
working.
gravity,
I'm
now
taking
see,
it to church.
and let me say this, you can see the effects of gravity,
Yeah.
right? But you can't see gravity.
right.
We don't know everything about gravity, but we can see the effects, and therefore we can assume, we can infer that gravity exists,
Absolutely.
right? Okay, now regarding like all religions, do you think that all religions are basically the same and equally valid in a person's attempt to know God? You would say no? What would you say?
Yes.
Equally valid. Okay. And let me ask you this question. Do you believe that religions are based on kind of a function? What makes you function, makes you feel good? Is that what determines the truth of religion?
Yeah.
Or is it based on reality and facts?
Function.
Which one?
Function.
Function, okay. So I'd say function. A lot of people believe that. You look at a religion, right? And say a religion functions for me. So if you're a good Buddhist, it functions for you.
Right.
It may give you a certain amount of peace and so forth. A Mormon, it may function for him in a certain way. He gets the burning in the bosom, the Bibles. I mean, the Mormons will tell you, okay? But I would submit to you that religions they're more about reality and the facts. Because religions aren't just about what works for you, right? But they're about making truth claims about reality. For example, religions make truth claims about the nature of God, okay, the nature of man, the nature of sin, the nature of salvation. So they're making truth claims. And here's the issue, okay? Because what you're espousing is kind of what we call religious pluralism. All religions are equally valid in your attempt to know God, as long as you're sincere, typically, is what you're saying, right? The problem with that is that all religions make truth claims, okay? I'll give you an example. Christianity says there's only one true God. Okay. Mormonism and Hinduism say there's millions of gods. The religion of atheism or some forms of Buddhism, which are agnostic, say there's no God. Okay. So in reality, since they're making these truth claims, is it possible that there could be one God, no God, or many gods at the same time in the same sense?
Well, I believe that it's function. It functions for you, functions for her, because there is no proof to any of it.
Well, you're making an assumption there, okay? I would suggest that there is proof, but we can talk about that later, but we're just talking about truth claims in themselves. Truth, what is the definition of truth? Give me your definition of truth.
To me, something that was proven. There is facts. There is something that shows this actually occurred.
Okay. But, you know, truth is what corresponds with the facts, with reality, the way things really are. Okay. Now, sometimes something can be true, and we have more evidence times than others. But the fact is, that's what truth is. So it corresponds with the facts. Well, if religions make truth claims about reality, they can't all be true if they're making opposite truth claims. For example, if it's really true, right, that there's only one God, like the Bible says, right, then by necessity, due to the law of non-contradiction, right, it's false that there's many gods if there's only one true God. It's also false that there's no God. And likewise, if atheism were true, there's no God, it would also be false that there's only one God if there's many gods. But they can't all be true at the same time in the same sense. We have to be reasonable in our logic, otherwise we really can't have dialogue. So we have to deal with reality, what we call the law of non-contradiction. And that says that A is not non-A. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So given that religions just aren't about I like vanilla, you like chocolate, or what functions for you, and they're making truth claims, in reality they can't all be equally true or pluralistic, right? So you agreed upon that? So from that point we can go on and talk about it, okay? But we have to agree on these essentials, otherwise it just comes back to it's relative to you and relative to me, okay? Because relative is really self-defeating concept. Do you agree? And the guy that says everything is relative has made a self-defeating statement. You know why? He's made an absolute truth claim. He just said, I'm absolutely sure that relativism is true, and there's no absolutes, but I'm absolutely sure. See what I'm saying? So we can't deal in these areas that are non-logical, and that's the way reality is. It's logical. We don't live our life that way, apart from absolutes. You know, the guy that denies that, like a Hindu may say, for example, he denies that reality exists. Everything is a maya, right? Well, even Hindus look both ways before they cross the street. Even though that bus they're claiming is an illusion, they know if they walk up in front of the bus,
It's over.
yeah. So their worldview is not livable, right? So, and that's one of the ways we can test truth. Is it functionable? Is it livable? But does it correspond with the facts, reality, the way things really are? Okay. And so, let me ask you this: from man's viewpoint, and from your viewpoint, is morality a matter of his own opinion, or would you say mankind is basically good or evil, or inherently evil?
I would definitely say it's 50-50.
Because we see a lot of evil in the world. And how would you describe evil?
Related to what? How evil it is?
Well, what is evil? Evil is would be the opposite of a moral truth, right? A moral good, right? So if it's wrong to murder someone, right? To commit murder would be an evil, right?
Yeah.
It's what the Bible calls sin. Okay? So we have an absolute moral truth, right? And so you believe that there are absolute moral truths.
Absolutely.
And they transcend culture, time, and places. Okay. And you would too. And so, given the fact that everything is not relative, there are absolutes, right? Do you believe that you've kept the standard of God's moral absolute truths?
I believe that I'll keep the standard of what I feel is moral and true.
And what you feel?
Right. I feel. Because I'm not, like I told you, I'm not a Christian God. I'm more of seem to believe she is. So she may live by those standards, but I live on my own standards of good, and I believe I do very good.
Let me ask you, where do your standards come from?
Common sense.
Common sense?
Feeling good about what you do.
Okay, let me give you an example where you're in shaky ground on that viewpoint, okay? Hitler had his own moral standards. He said it's good to commit genocide. It's good to kill 6 million Jews. Mother Teresa did a lot of moral good. She did a lot of good things, right? So, given you've admitted everything is relative, right? There are moral standards. If you base it on your feelings, Hitler based it on his feelings. The problem with that is the Bible reveals that the heart is deceitfully wicked. And you've agreed to that even to an extent, because you said there's evil in the world. Well, that comes from something deep inside the heart of man. It reveals there's a sinfulness, there's a wickedness, right, within man. And actually the Bible says all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Okay, there's no one righteous, no not one. We're all like an unclean thing. Okay, so if you really think about it, just your even word, thought, and deed. You know, Jesus said if you even look upon a woman to lust after your heart, you commit adultery with your heart. You ever done that before? Sure, absolutely. So the Bible says that Jesus said that you're an adulterer. And that's a transgression of the moral law. You're stolen anything. Okay, so you steal something, what does it make you? It makes you think. That's not good either, right?
It makes me taken away from the big man. Absolutely.
You violated his moral standard. So the thing we have to understand, the moral standard has to be absolute. You know why? Because there is a God. And I can show you if you look at natural revelation, and the Bible even talks about there's two types of revelation. You know what they are? There's a natural revelation, things that we can see about the universe that we observe, that we live in. And there's also a scriptural revelation, which God has revealed to us directly, which he says all the scriptures of God breathed, that's given by God. And the holy men, prophets of God spoke as they breathed out, the Holy Spirit breathed out the word of God. So when we look at the Bible, it's claiming to be the word of God, the very truth of God itself, okay? Right. So you've got natural revelation, you've got scriptural revelation. You see the natural revelation, every man does. You know there's a moral conscience, right? There's a moral law, there has to be a moral law giver, right? Okay, you get that moral law in your conscience. It doesn't come from you just making that up. And that was given to you when you were born, because God has imposed that into your conscience. And that's one of the ways we can know, just from natural revelation, even apart from looking at the Bible. It doesn't mean that there's a God because there's a moral law giver. And if there's a moral law giver, that's God. You can't have a law without a lawgiver, right? If I walk up to you and I say, here's a piece of legislation, and you say, oh, who's the legislator behind it? You say, oh, no one, it's just a piece of legislation. It doesn't make sense, right? Or if I say, here's a prescription, right? Go to the drugstore, you tell the pharmacist, here's my prescription. Who prescribed this, sir? No one. It's just a prescription. Whenever there's a prescription, there's a prescriber. Whenever there's a legislation, there's a legislator. Whenever there's a moral law, there's a moral lawgiver. Okay? So we know because there's a moral law, there has to be a moral lawgiver that transcends culture and time and space. Okay? And so we would acknowledge that's God. And we know there's a God, you know why? Because the universe came into existence. Did you know that? You know what science has proven now? That the universe came out of nothing.
Nothing.
Okay. Right, so there was no time, no space, no matter, right? So let me ask you this, can nothing produce something? Absolutely. Can even produce a spark? Yet alone an entire universe, right? So the first cause of the universe had to be an infinite cause, a cause that didn't have a cause for itself, right? That's what the Bible says about God. God is the eternal being. He's the great I am. He's self-existent. He was non-created. And that means he's not part of time, space, and matter, but he transcends time, space, and matter. Make sense? Okay, given that, God is infinite. Any attribute that God has, he has to have it to an infinite degree. For example, if God is love, he's infinite love. Actually, the Bible says that. It says God is love. It doesn't say he just has love. It says he is love. He's infinite love. If God is righteous, he's infinite righteousness, right? If he's holy, he's infinitely holy, which means he can't ever exceed. Okay, so what really means is we have a perfect moral being is the creator of the universe. We also know God is intelligent. You know why? Because we see design in the universe. You see design in the universe? Like you look at that building right there. Would anybody ever suppose that building just kind of came into existence from maybe an explosion? It took, we see design in the building, right? It was just a pile of rocks, you might say that, right? But you see bricks laid on top of bricks, windows, and so forth.
An architect.
It's an architect. What you see is intelligent design or specified complexity. And whenever we have specified complexity, everything we've observed always requires an intelligent mind behind it. Whether it's my watch, you look at the watch, could that have happened by chance by an explosion? No way, man. You got the second hand in it, you got the wristband there, right? But you look at my hand, now that's far more that hand is far more designed than that watch. Now, if this requires an intelligent designer, how much more is my hand with its ligaments, blood vessels, fingernails, 5 fingers, and function is a functional unit, right? Pick things up and so forth. That requires a design. If this does, right? So what we see just from natural revelation is we see a creator who's all powerful, the universe out of nothing, right? He's all intelligent, he's designed the universe, there's order, there's an order, right? And also he's a morally perfect being. You know what that describes? Exactly. The God of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth out of nothing, ex nihilo. So what we see is, by everything you can observe, just in natural revelation, we see the existence of the God of the Bible. You don't see pantheism, which would be Hinduism, which says all is God is God. The universe could be God, because it's not eternal. God by nature has to be eternal. So you can remove the Eastern religions based on pantheism, of everything being God, you and me, because we're not infinite all knowledge. Right? So the only other alternative would be atheism, which we've already proven that can't be true, because nothing can produce something, design it, and so forth. So what you're coming down to is a theistic creator of the universe, which is a personal being. You know how we know God is personal? Because you have personhood, don't you? You and your girlfriend, we have a personal relationship, right? Well, you can't have a relationship with an inanimate object like a rock, can you? You're both persons. Well, God must be a person because the effect can't be greater than the cause. So God is not only all these entities, a personal being. So all we have is the God of the Bible described perfectly. And so when we look at the Bible, we see a book that's proven itself to be the Word of God. Did you know that? You look at the Bible and say, I know for certain. Okay, well I'm going to do something. I'm going to give you something to read, okay? And give this to you. I want you to read it, and we'll give you a telephone number. I'd like to discuss this with you further. If you want to.
We can go on for hours with this.
But I think you've gone from somebody that doesn't believe in God to somebody at least knows there's a God, right?
No, there's something.
Something personal, something eternal, something intelligent, something like the God of the Bible. Okay, I want you to look at this information. Take it home, read it, and get talking. Thanks.